From the far reaches of the Milky Way galaxy, it's Retro Nerd Girl with a film review for you. Today I'll be reviewing Pluto Nash, released in 2002. Starring Eddie Murphy, Rosario Dawson, Randy Quaid, Jay Moore, Joe Pantoliano, Luis Guzman, James Rebhorn, Peter Boyle, Pam Grier, Alec Baldwin, and John Cleese. Directed by Ron Underwood. The genre is comedy, action, sci-fi. The rating is PG. The budget is $100 million estimated. My rating is a 7. Pluto Nash, a smuggler turned successful club owner on the moon, refuses to sell his club to mob boss Rex Crater, who wants to turn it into a casino. Dina is the daughter of an old friend of his from the smuggling business, looking for work as a lounge singer on the moon. The excitement really begins when Rex Crater's goons blow up Pluto's club. Dina tags along as he and his robot Bruno get into some sticky situations. Enjoyment. This movie is the movie that inspired me to make reviews. It all started because I like a lot of weird sci-fi movies, and I kept seeing this movie in my computer screen feed for movies that I should watch. Then I went searching for reviews on the movie, only to find out that everyone absolutely hated this movie. I mean, hate! And when I heard the description of the movie and what happens in it, I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, I think I'm gonna probably enjoy this movie. This is the kind of movie that I like watching. And I watched it and I liked it. It was so weird. Like the first couple of minutes in, I was like, yep, I like this movie. And I think I'm one of the very few people that like this movie. There's a couple of us out there, very niche audience. And I felt that since there was such a complete hate for this movie, it would be nice to hear another point of view about this movie. Now, this doesn't mean that I think that this is a flawless movie, but it has so much potential. And I just wanted to show what potential it had and why I found it so enjoyable. For pacing at an hour and 35 minutes, that's not too long, but it does linger long during the non-action scenes. It can use some truncation in certain areas that would definitely make the story a lot more concise. The original script was written in 1985. A dozen other writers wrote treatments of it, but Neil Cutbirth was the only writer credited for the film. The story turns out to be an okay story. It does have some imagination behind it, and I think that part should be commended. However, much of it borrows from a lot of other films. In my opinion, Total Recall is the biggest one, ranging from the levels of the different bad guys in the film. So Belcher is Cohagen, Kelp is Helm, and Mogan is Richter. There's a Star Wars element to this, and it's been brought up so many times by so many other reviewers, and it's two things. One, Pluto is a smuggler just like Han Solo, and there's a line in the story where one of the characters says, "It's a trap!" Not saying it's a trap is going to call you out on being from Star Wars, because it's a pretty average statement that you can say to anybody. But it's kind of odd the way it's placed, but it was definitely kind of wedged, like force-fed in there. There's also a callback to other science fiction movies. There is a panel that is accessed during a boss fight scene, and that panel has a list of possible influences for this movie. First is Benny's Perfect Vacuum, which is a callback to Total Recall. Benny is the antagonist that has 5 to 6 mouths to feed, and he is actually a mutant on the side of the enemy, pretending to be one of the good guys. The second one is Klaatu, That is a callback to The Day the Earth Stood Still, the original one. And Klaatu is the main character that flies in from outer space to deliver a message to planet Earth. And then Pluto being Klaatu and Bruno being Gort, the kind of the muscle man. Perfection NV is actually a fictitious town in Tremors. 451 is actually a callback to Fahrenheit 451, one of my favorite movies. The next one, The Sanctuary, is a callback to Logan's Run. Lazy Eye Jack's Lounge is a callback to an actor, Jack Elam. And then The Deckard Hotel is definitely a callback to Blade Runner. So the challenge, there are so many bad guys in this film, and there's so many of them, and it's you can almost sometimes lose track of how many of them there are. So the ultimate plan for the bad guys, okay? Before the movie even starts, there's a guy by the name of Michael Marucci, who's sort of a thug businessman that wants to have a whole line of casinos on the moon. He makes a clone of Pluto Nash while he's in jail because he needs someone who knows the ins and out of the moon. He names Pluto's clone Rex Crater. Rex Crater kills Marucci and takes over his master plan. He decides to offer to buy Pluto's club. Pluto refuses, so then Rex blows up Pluto's club so he can have it. I know, none of this makes sense. It's a very confusing, convoluted story. He could have just pretty much assumed Pluto's identity and signed the club over to himself, Rex Crater. Also, how do you tell every dirty crook, every henchman to kill someone who looks exactly like you? It makes no sense. This is one of the dumbest criminals ever. So, my empathy. Everyone loves Pluto, but why should we? He really isn't likable. He steals cars when he can simply rent them. He isn't totally hateable either. I like the way he loves the moon so much. I wish that part had been explored further. Maybe a flashback scene or two where he can talk more about the moon and what it means to him to keep the moon safe from shisty criminals, or to keep the moon a place where honest people can make a living. That would be awesome, you know, and there could be stories of him like helping people who are struggling to make it on the moon, and you know, really bring some gravity to his likability. You know, Pluto also seems to have so many friends that bail him out of everything. And he has the robot guard, and he has an answer for everything. He's so witty and fast thinking. You never really feel like he's in any trouble. I don't feel anything for him because I just know he's gonna get out of the trouble anyway. Pluto goes on a wild goose chase to see who Rex Crater really is, but actually Pluto doesn't really need to. Rex Crater is still Rex Crater. He only needs to go to Rex's casino to find him. You didn't need to go through the entire adventure to do the one thing you always had to do. Face Rex Crater. I won't tell anybody that this movie makes sense at all. It just doesn't. Let's talk about the technical stuff. The film spent 17 years in development. Even after the movie was done, it was shelved for 2 years before it was released. And that's a killer for any movie because you're already outdated by the time it's released. The budget was estimated at $100 million, with marketing costs of $20 million, which I never saw any posters for that movie. And in 2014, the LA Times listed the film as one of the most expensive box office flops of all time. I think it's all interesting stuff, but I don't care about how much the film cost. Is it really a good movie or not? It's an okay film with great ideas. That's my personal opinion. There were a lot of strange, unconnected details in the film, and one of them was the music. There's about 22 songs in total on the soundtrack, and only 6 of them stood out. They probably spent a lot of money on that. A lot of people thought that the modern dancing in Pluto's nightclub was really stupid. And they should have, because I think that is exactly what your parents think the way you dance. I thought it was an accurate commentary about our fads as human beings. We get into these strange and unusual fads, and by the time 2080 something turns around, we're going to have weird dancing like that. There may be even more stranger things than just that kind of dancing that we won't connect to. The film was made by Castle Rock, AOL Time Warner Company, and that's why there's an American Online reference in the film that I think personally should have been cut because it dates it too much. I think my biggest disappointment with the movie is the costumes. I mean, only with a few $1,000s they could have had an amazing body of costumes that would sell the world of this film. And most of them are just wearing regular clothes with a dash of lame and sparkles. That's pretty much it. Except for the spacesuits. I thought that the spacesuits were really cool. I really enjoyed many of the establishing shots in this movie. It took about 10 months building and shooting about 20,000 square feet of miniatures in a studio in Canada. Many of those shots really looked great, but others were combined with CGI, and unfortunately none of the CGI moments in this film work. You can see where much of the money was spent on this film, on the film sets and design, and attention to details on the sets. Technically, it's not a bad attempt. Unfortunately, it is the story that really hurts the technical aspect. The performances. Eddie's performance isn't bad in this film. He's actually playing the part pretty straight and not like zany as we would expect him to perform. He isn't hamming it up full of the Eddie Murphy movie formula, full of jokes and sassy remarks. And I think I like that about the movie, that he wasn't as animated as usual. It shocked a lot of people that he wasn't playing that part. I was fine with it. Eddie, is not very proud of this movie. He refused to promote the film at the time of its release, and he actually just said that he was in it just for the money. And also Alec Baldwin, who co-stars, disliked the film so much that he insisted on being uncredited. I thought he gave one of the best performances in the film, and I think they probably wanted his part to be bigger than what it was. I suppose he had gotten the sense that something wasn't right. I mean, it's such a shame, because if 2 actors are ready to burn this movie, I feel like it may have been some problems behind the scenes that took over the quality of the film, and it was pretty obvious to them at the time. You can also tell because there are several versions of the poster that looks like some of the actors were going to have a bigger part in the film than they did. Now, for the part of Dina Lake, it's rumored that Jennifer Lopez and Halle Berry were also first and second choices for the role. I think Rosario Dawson is doing a great job. The camera many times was on her for long after she had finished her lines, and they just did not want to cut her scenes. So some of the acting really came off looking flat. To tell you the truth, this whole love interest plot in this story, it seems like it was force-fed in there, because it did not work at all. It also felt a little creepy, because why would Pluto have a romantic relationship with his friend's daughter? Unless it was very clear that Dina's father was much older than Pluto, and like maybe one line saying like, oh yeah, he was like a father to me, would have made that a lot easier to handle in the script. Just put something in there that makes it easier for us to deal with that, because we didn't forget. Okay, so I just love when Luis Guzman shows up in this film. It's just so much fun with him in the scenes. He's just so lively, and he just imparts some sort of realness to it. And I'm not sure if his part actually was required in the film at all. It definitely could have been cut out. It would have been nice if he had a bigger part in the film and it wasn't so short. We just didn't get enough of that. Jay Moore, I loved Jay Moore's performance in this. I don't know why. I think he's really good in this film. I thought his singing was really good. I really like the character of Tony Francis. He's a little spaced out. He's sexist and he's selfish. You know, he's just a very colorful being, a very colorful character in this film. The best part of this movie, there were some details that hurt the film, but then there were some details that made the film fun, like the retro space suits. Those were so cool. Little America, Hillary bucks, Trump Realty. Those little touches, they just were funny, and you still get a little chuckle from them. Not a big one, but you get sort of, you're like, oh, that's cute. The establishing shots were really imaginative. And though it copies from movies like Blade Runner, Total Recall, and so on and so forth, I do love seeing that, and I don't mind seeing it again. Copy away. Just show me more. I want to see more movies with beautiful scapes in it. There were a lot of great heroic, almost like Futurama kind of sounds in the heroic theme, and it was really exciting when it got going. I personally enjoyed the action scenes in this movie, and when they use this hero theme, it really feels action-packed. I like that. Dina's moonwalk, it looked like it might have been more fun if it was extended and if maybe Pluto joined her. The zero gravity shootout scene was so awesome. It's straight out of Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, or one of those 1940s movies. My absolute favorite, and I think maybe they should have considered having Eddie Murphy just be the bad guy and have someone else play Pluto. For an idea like this, it would have been really cool if they had someone else, maybe unknown, to play Pluto, and then the big reveal, Big Boss Man, is actually a really big star. I don't know, just my idea, but when he plays evil, everything comes alive. I mean, he's big and lively and fun and unpredictable. The story is really dialogue heavy. It should have not really been a comedy because it's too hard to really do that in a spacey kind of film. Films like Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy, the comedy really comes from within the world and the situation in the film. It would be better to stick to the plot and write around that. All of the pop culture reference jokes just doesn't hold up over time. And all the sexual jokes, they just aren't witty enough and clever enough to keep from coming off really creepy and disturbing. It also secludes a big audience for the film. This film really could have found an audience if it chose either to aim for kids and be more of a Buzz Lightyear kind of adventure, or go all out and be R-rated and like Total Recall, which you can see this movie is heavily influenced by. It would have been nice to have an alternative universe where the 1940s had such a strong impact on the future, since it's slightly represented in the film. Dina wears 1940s hairdos and Tony Francis sings old songs from the days of Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack. I would love to have seen more of that in sort of a retro future kind of world play out. I also thought that there were too many featured characters that didn't last long in the film. If it had less characters, then we could appreciate the ones that we did need to have in the film and tighten up the story a bit. For instance, the part of the henchman was basically played by 3 characters. And last of all, I really wish that the film didn't cost as much as it did, because when it really boils down to it, I think that's the main reason why people hate this film. $100 million is a lot of money to blow on something that just ends up being okay. The ending for me was not a shocker, but I do appreciate the effort of trying to create a plot twist. To be honest, any one of the characters that Pluto meets along the way could have been the bad guy, and it would have still been fun and interesting. In summary, I really do like this movie, and I think that filmmakers can figure out how to make good movies by watching where this one has a great idea and then it goes really flat. It just flatlines. I mean, it doesn't tank, it doesn't go below the line, it just stays at a place where you can call mediocre. And it's got so much potential, in my opinion. You know, I'm a freakish science fiction lover, so the world of Pluto Nash on the moon really appealed to me. I just love this kind of genre, almost like a Futurama, Total Recall, Flash Gordon live action series, moon boots and shootouts. I want to see more of this kind of stuff. And I can see where producers and filmmakers were so determined to make this film because it's a good idea. I just wish that someone would do this kind of thing on a platform like YouTube or TV, where it has a chance to find its niche audience with episodic patience. Well, that sums up my review. I hope you liked it, and please make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'll be posting many more reviews. And let's keep this discussion going. Leave your rating for the movie and why in the comment section. Take care, movie lovers. I'm off to my next review.